We constantly are signing to live a life just outside of our comfort zone. That's where all the magic happens. But boy, it's scary. It's uncomfortable. But that's where the magic and the growth takes place. You know, ancient scripture says, you will be sent a comforter. Well, let's stop right there. Why would we need sent a comforter if the plan was for you and I to stay stuck and safe in our own comfort zone?
Hello, welcome back to the Tattoo Guardians podcast. My name's Mike.
With now the Matt and Mike show, I fired Hip and Josh. Tonight's a special. There's a lot of changes going on around here. Tonight's our debut. I'm going to introduce you to my new co-host. It's Mike Srnoyachki. Fuck Hip and Josh. We'll see you soon. Brothers and sisters, we can't thank you enough for all your love, your support, and your faithfulness. It's been brought to my attention, if you really want to do something to bless us, to thank us, apparently simply hitting the like button on YouTube would be more impactful than what I ever knew, let alone subscribing to us on YouTube if you're not already. And then over on Spotify and Apple, please leave us a review. All of your listening and your comments to us mean the world to us. And do us a favor and just hit like on YouTube and leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're going to continue to serve you with our whole heart. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast show. And tonight, it's an extra special night. I feel like I say that all the time. We've brought to you today, a wonderful extra special guest. Someone from behind the scenes and the backbone of a lot about who we are and what we do here. Hip and Mr. Carlton are out painting the streets in love, is what I like to say, wherever they're at. Mr. Carlton's in Mexico with a lot of other friends. I was supposed to be there and had passport issues. Don't you know that Hip called Mike and I right after TBM Monday night, all bummed out. He was in the Puerto Rico convention, and something was off with his passport. They printed his birth date wrong. No one noticed until, anyways, Hip could not go to Mexico either. He was bummed. Ended up driving to New York City to shoot a video with FYT. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this. Anyways, so it's me, and we brought the brother who I always say is in the background doing the beats for us, out here in the foreground, on stage with me tonight. Without further ado, you know who it is. It is our good brother, the producer of this show, the Tattoo Guardians podcast, and so much more, Mike, Mr. Srnoyachki. I got it, didn't I?
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, you got it.
My God. That might have been the best attempt at saying your name ever.
I think so.
It just rolled off, and none of our viewers, since you've edited out me practicing 100 times before the show. Oh my God. How's it feel to be, you're in Hip seat right now. How's that feel?
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking. I feel like a whole bunch of pressure on me to drop gold somehow.
Well, good. That's why I got you sitting here, so you fucking better.
All right, it's going down.
Woo! May I have the honor of continuing introducing you, sir?
Absolutely.
Brothers and sisters, this is my good friend Mike. If you know him, he will soon to become your good friend Mike. And you guys, if you're avid listeners, have heard us talk about Mike often. He is the producer of this show. He also is one of the producers of Tattoo Business Mastery. He also used to oversee all the social media at our studios at Aisle 9 and oversaw the ad campaigns, was our videographer, was Hip's assistant, and still is Hip's assistant in a lot of ways.
A little bit, yep.
Yeah, because you're just a good brother. And he also is this year, and almost a year ago, became the newest apprentice at Aisle 9. Am I tracking so far?
Absolutely, yep.
My God. How did we get so lucky?
I ask myself that every day. I really don't know. I just keep doing the next right thing, and seems like things just kind of fall into place.
My God. That's weird. And what happens when you don't do the next right thing?
Whole bunch of shit I don't want anymore.
Man. What type of man, what type of person, what type of human would be talented and amazing enough to even fill all those roles and those shoes? Surely a true professional, someone's been highly trained. Mike, you've been such a blessing in my life, to this show, to Aisle 9, to Tattoo Business Mastery. And Mike was with me in the beginning when Tattoo Business Mastery was just a dream. He helped me from the ground up in the beginning stages. Same with the Tattoo Guardians. This show was birthed because Hip and I took seminar from Mr. Joshua Carlton. I had signed up for it myself. And Hip, on his own, signed up for Carlton's seminar. We each bought it and paid for it. And we decided, just for fun, Hip, let's take it together. And we did. And something magical happened in that seminar where it was just me, Hip, and Josh. And it was wonderful. And at the end of it, Josh was like, guys, should we start a podcast? You know, fast forward over a year and a half, and here we are. What an honor. What an honor for all you listeners. I'd like to personally say hello to all of our new listeners and all of our new subscribers tuning in this week. Oh my God. We're just overwhelmed and blessed.
And a big congrats to you, because your episode that you were so afraid to drop is now the #1 most viewed episode that we have.
My goodness. My goodness. Guys, do you care if I share with them just a little bit of where you come from, or do you want to tell them?
Yeah.
Before you do,
Okay.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Just talking to all you tattooers out there, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but not every apprentice is an idiot. Okay. Like, not every apprentice is an idiot. Okay. I would argue most. But oftentimes I think there's a stigma that most people, you know, when they come in at their apprenticeship, and even especially if they're young, you know, 19 or whatever, or maybe, whether we want to say inexperienced or wet behind the ears or green in a lot of areas in life. But that's not been the case at Aisle 9, because we've brought on all walks of life at different levels of life. And even the apprentices you've seen us bring on were professionals already in their own right in other industries, right? I myself I was a professional in other industries before I ever entered the tattoo industry. And that just helped me sooner in the tattoo industry. Anyways, and the reason why I say that is because to me, you too were a guy that already had, you know, just some growth before, and had been through some things and grown through some things before you ever led to our house. But go ahead.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, so I mean, I've learned a ton being at Aisle 9 period, even before my apprenticeship. Recovery is a big part of my life, which means like I'm in long-term recovery. I have 4 years clean.
Nice.
And I've learned a lot of stuff along the way. Even before I got to Aisle 9, just going through my struggles with addiction and recovery.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this, because I met you. Hip had brought you to the shop once and met me.
Yep.
We met and talked, and you were clean at the time. Mm-hmm. I just remember meeting you, and like so many of Hip's friends, I would meet or people he would sponsor, and he'd bring them to the shop. We'd even maybe break out some literature if we had some whatever, and just get to know each other, fellowship, kick it. I've lost count how many times over the years Hip come back to work saying that dude was found dead behind a dumpster last night or whatever.
Yeah.
Just heartbreaking, right?
Yeah.
And I would watch Hip's, anyways. And since all that happened, then, you were a guy that Hip brought to come meet me like many before. Not saying you were like it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I get it.
And I think after we'd met, because I saw something in you, and I also saw the way you saw me, which at the time was completely cynical, completely like, this dude can't be real, right? I could tell you're a real guard and you look at me like, man, the fuck?
Well, it's the best of both worlds, though, because I could see that in you, too. Like, something's different about this guy.
Gotcha.
Something's just different. Like, I don't, I've never met somebody that speaks like you, that looks like you.
Yeah.
Like, your appearance is already, like, interesting.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to know what this guy's about.
Yeah.
And then when you open your mouth, it adds to the whole story, and it's intriguing.
Yeah.
So you got to figure out, like, what's this guy about?
Right.
And then it's just consistency and yeah, like over these years that I've known you, I'm like, damn, okay, yeah, this guy's 100% for real.
And
He's the most optimistic person I've ever met. And like, that's really hard to believe for people.
Yeah. And you're cynical by nature, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I think it's like a healthy cynicism, just to not believe some things away.
That's right. Oh, yeah. And so how many years have you known me now? Well, we met around the 4-year mark.
About 3.5, 4, something like that.
Right on. And I don't know if this is true, and I don't even care keeping tabs, but I felt like after I met you, then you had relapsed one time and gotten in a wreck and had to go to the hospital, maybe even back to jail, and broke your leg and had to go back through some shit. And then
actually that was beforehand. So when I met you, I think I had
you were in a cast,
a year clean. Okay. Yeah. So, just getting into recovery, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I started roofing because it was the easiest thing.
Yeah.
To make decent money.
Yeah.
And the way I've always been, I feel like, is like I'm gonna be good at whatever I do.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a good roofer. And I was a good roofer.
Yeah, I believe it.
And so I ended up breaking my foot falling off a roof.
Okay.
During the tornadoes we had. We had a bunch of tornadoes that came through.
Okay, that's the way. Okay.
But they ended up putting me in the office, found out that I could work a computer. They ended up offering me a production manager job. And for me, I'm like, oh my God, my first big boy job, salary and all the cool,
right.
The idea of it
is
like big for a kid who I was only 21, 20 at the time.
Nice.
So, and I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Really?
Yeah. I just knew. Like there was something in me that knew that they wanted something that I couldn't give them, which was like somebody who would stay and build with them.
Yes.
And I'm like, I'm grateful, but I know that this isn't where I'm meant to be.
Gotcha.
And like, I remember just like sitting in that office and like praying real hard, just asking for something that I could, a career path that I could go down. I could build, feel proud to go to work every day. And like a day after that, Hip called me and he's like, you want to be my videographer? And I'm like, I don't know.
Wow.
Sure. Yeah. I quit.
You said yes to Hip and you immediately quit the roofing place?
Yeah. I mean, I still gave him 2 weeks and stuff. But I told him and I felt like a crazy person because I'm like, I'm going to go do this thing that I have no idea about.
Right. Just to be clear, because you weren't a videographer.
No.
You had never done videography.
Yep.
you didn't even know how to do videography, right?
Yep.
Did you even own a camera?
I did not. Hip bought me my first camera, and YouTube University taught me everything that I needed to know. So
My God. So you committed to it again, saying what? And Hip's like, man, I need a videographer. You down? You're like, just
Yeah.
let me finish this head cap here. Get this gutter back on straight under this soffit, and I'll be right there.
Yeah.
Man.
And
taught yourself.
yep.
And I remember, because obviously, oh my God. But that's mind blowing, because that alone speaks to who you are, because not just anyone, because guys, Mike's a very talented videographer, and almost any hip video they've ever seen, it's pretty safe that you've done most of them, right?
Yep, pretty much. Until recently. Yeah.
Yeah. And now you do all the Tattoo Guardians clips and shorts and, the show. But my God. What's one thing, though, a prerequisite when Hip hired you out of all of them? But what was one of them that he checked in with you to make sure that you wouldn't ever want to do?
As far as like parts of the job that I wouldn't want to do. Oh, yeah. Okay. I get it. Tattooing. He's like, do you want a tattoo? And I'm like, no, I have no desire to.
Yeah. And he like really made sure.
He really did. Yeah. And at the time, I didn't. But then like over the years, just seeing the magic of it, like not only is it like one of the coolest jobs in the world, but like there's just something about it that like pulls at me from the inside. And like a student in tattoo business mastery framed it as like he was told that it's one of the last forms of shamanism, which is like hit the nail on the head. And the way he described it is like, we get to create our art on people, which is already cool enough. And then on top of that, like it's a transfer of energy between people and a transformation of energy between people. And like, I've experienced that and getting to see, and it doesn't happen every single tattoo, or maybe it does. I don't know.
Yeah.
But just getting the honor of seeing somebody's late mother, like somebody gets their mother who's passed on them, and then like maybe the memory's fresh, maybe it's years old, but they step to the mirror and they see it, and you just see it, like the tears, the joy, like the release of this, like something that they were holding on to.
Absolutely.
And just like to honor somebody, or even if it's something else, like tattoos mean things to people.
Man.
And that's amazing. Yeah.
That's beautiful. And I can see it in your eyes when I'm watching you watch people in the shop. I appreciate your appreciation for the process and the art, because not everyone feels that way.
Yeah.
Have you noticed?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I've definitely noticed that, but I don't know if that's not to say that it's not in somebody to notice. Maybe they just haven't noticed yet.
I love it. Love it. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So somewhere along the line, after hanging out with us every day, shooting our videos, you're like, man, I want in. And it was like, no. And I was like, no.
Yep.
And so we told him no, didn't we?
Yeah, quite a few times. Yep.
And so now we got Mike behind the camera watching me help other tattoo artists fulfill their dreams, but I'm not letting him. And all of a sudden I started to smell resentment in the air. But this is after a good week. I'm just kidding. No, this is after maybe a year or so of him already like asking, what do I got to do to get an apprenticeship? Anyways, fast forward to 2022, and his wish came true. Yes. And he became an apprentice, right?
Yep.
My God. How's that been?
A whole roller coaster of
Yeah.
emotions and lessons. And it's kind of like the way HIP frames it as the spiral staircase. Like
Okay.
these things that I thought I'd dealt with, but it'll never be dealt with.
And that's a good hip analogy because sometimes we feel like we're going in circles. Like, man, I've been here before. Fuck, I thought I already learned this lesson. And here it's showing back up again, right?
Yeah.
But on a spiral staircase, you're at least a level higher than what you were the last time you hit it, even though it don't feel like it when it because it shows back up.
Yeah.
You know.
And I know that's not really how life works. Like, because the lessons are for experiences, which I'm not going to stop having.
Right.
Just because I had an experience where I may have needed to practice patience or acceptance or compassion or forgiveness, whatever the insert principle here is. I'm not going to stop having experiences where I'm going to have to do that again, or where it may even be harder than the last time. But even when I deal with hard situations and experiences where I have to call to mind these things that I've learned,
even when they come back around, you're still going to have those experiences, right?
Yeah. I guess when that happens, it's like, it's surprising and almost a letdown. Because it's like, oh, I thought I've grown to this place where something like this wouldn't bother me so much.
Yeah, right. Or to give yourself the room. Basically, that it's okay instead of like being in judgment on yourself, right?
Yeah.
What would you say? Well, again, I was asking about your apprenticeship. Of course, you're saying roller coaster. Most apprenticeships are. And I'm sitting here realizing, like, well, since I'm your mentor and stuff, other listeners may think if I'm asking, hey, how's it going? You're not going to be like, well, like, would you even tell the truth?
Sucks.
Right. Would you even be able to say,
Yeah. And that's another lesson that I've learned through the apprenticeship too, is like, you can only give me what I'm willing to receive, or take responsibility for myself. Because like, you can't get me, you can't exactly get me to be a certain way. You can guide me, but it's my responsibility to take those steps.
Sure. Absolutely.
And like, that's been a huge thing that I've had to learn. And like, because that comes with like discipline and consistency, which I could always do better in those areas.
Yeah, we all could.
This whole year has been learning how to do that better. And I'm sure I'll continue to do that.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the two biggest lessons you've learned this past year would be?
Really, that would be one of them, is like taking responsibility for my growth, for my feelings.
And when you say that, what does that look like? Like when our listeners take responsibility, can you give us an example for your feelings, for your growth? You're saying, well, what does that look like? What do you mean when you take responsibility for your growth?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's the attitude that I show up in life with, which of course is like the attitude I'll show up to the shop with.
You fucking better. Just kidding.
Me as an apprentice, like my goal was to start tattooing.
Okay.
An apprentice, they want a tattoo.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what they're there for.
Right.
But like learning the patience and everything that goes into being a tattooer, which is a lot more than I thought it was, even after being around you guys for so many years.
Right. Yeah, because you almost got to have like an inside look because you were in on the inside and doing all the videography, for a while before you ever became an apprentice. So you watched other people apprentice. So you had like, a lot of people, they start their apprenticeship. They've never been there before. you got to kick it for a good year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're saying it's still different once you get in the game. You could be on the sidelines watching it, but once you get on that court, it's still a little different. Is that what you're saying? Or
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like I was in a better position. Like, I'm aware of how fortunate I have been just to be around you guys and see what you do. And just to help you grow your program too.
Right.
Like, but just because I got to watch a badass coach help that team win the Super Bowl doesn't mean I know how to play football.
Got you. Right.
I may, if I start playing football, I might excel pretty quick.
Yeah.
But, still have to.
And I mean, hearing you say it's been harder than what you thought it would be.
Yeah, in a way, because a lot of it's like fear.
Yeah.
Fear of like taking this all on myself, because I spent so long helping others build instead of like building myself. And at the same time, I was building myself.
Sure.
But not in that specific way.
Right. But you were developing the character that you needed to go ahead and blow yourself up when the time's right, because you know how to do it for everybody else. Yeah. But who knows, man? I mean, one of these days I'll have you on the podcast and just put you on blast.
I'll probably be terrified.
You'll probably. What a journey. You went from addiction to roofing to Hip calling you and be like, bro, I'll buy you a camera. You down to watch YouTube? To going on a world tour with the mic in my hand, right?
Yeah.
Now you and I are about to hop a flight to Atlanta, Georgia in just like 48 hours, because you're going with me. I have the honor, guys. I'm scared to death and honored. And I'm so scared. Something I do with my students, and a lot of us, we constantly are signing to live a life just outside of our comfort zone. That's where all the magic happens. But boy, it's scary. It's uncomfortable. But that's where the magic and the growth takes place. Ancient scripture says, you will be sent a comforter. Well, let's stop right there. Why would we need sent a comforter if the plan was for you and I to stay stuck and safe in our own comfort zone? Apparently, we must step out of our own into the land of the unknown and trust the process and follow our heart. And in that place, clarity will come. Comfort will show up. And I trust it. But it still don't mean it's not scary. This is when we apply this thing called courage. And anyways, that's my long-winded setup to tell you I'm scheduled to have the honor to speak at in Atlanta, Georgia, a wonderful conference. It's a Global Hope Conference hosted by John Hope Bryan. And I'll be sharing the stage with many legends, including my brother T.D. Jakes. And it's like, oh, man, I'm honored. I'm nervous. I'm scared. And I was sharing with Mike I was scared. And he used a Matt-ism on me and reminded me the stuff I say all the time, like what?
If your dreams ain't big enough, or no, so I just pulled a hipism. If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough.
If your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. So he was right. I was like, dang it. Whew. But all this has happened from addict to living a wonderful life. Right here, right now on the Tattoo Guardians podcast show, and the producer of this show sitting here at the table with me. And this whole story has happened in just 3 years. Just 3 years. Guys, for all you shop owners and leaders out there, this is a side note, but anytime I bring anyone onto the team, whether it's an apprentice or an artist that's been tattooing 20 years and we're entering into a new covenant, I always take people on a 3-year agreement, a 3-year vision, a 3-year plan, and then we reevaluate. But look how much has happened in Mike's life in just 3 short years. And you, my friend, have put in the work to do it, though. You know, you've shown up. It's amazing. It's beautiful.
Yeah. And honestly, that helped give me peace. Because, like, this is a little scary.
Right.
In all honesty, I'm just talking to you, so it's not really that big a deal.
Yeah.
But just to be on the podcast, it's a scary idea.
Sure.
But just knowing, like, that's fucking incredible, and congratulations.
Yeah,
because that's amazing.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's part of your dreams, and to just get to see them come to fruition is like, I'm honored to be here yet again, like always.
Right.
And like, I'm honored to be a part of it. All of this, really, like, to be a part of the podcast, Aisle 9, your guys' lives. It's cool as fuck.
Yeah, man. Jeez. It is. Life's pretty cool sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So that was one of your lessons for 2022.
Yeah.
I know you got another one, or I hope you can come up with another one because I asked it for your top 2. But, you know, I heard a quote or a saying earlier today from a buddy and a friend of mine, a coach of mine. Pretty sure it was from my brother, Brad Newman. I heard it from my brother, James Whiteman. Shout out to James Whiteman, who said he heard it from our mutual brother, Brad Newman. And it was something along the lines of this, which is, if you can't, you must. If there's something you want to do and you're saying, but I can't, or I can't do this, that's the very reason, for whatever reasons why you say you can't are the very reasons why you must now. To overcome it. Like, I want to change my life. I want to get a coach. I want to get a mentor. I want to level up. I want to commit, you know, but I can't because of this and this, because of my life. I want to change my life, but I can't because of my life.
Yeah.
Right? Which is the very reason why you must, if you really want change in your life. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like we're refaced with that and have been a lot in the past. In the journey since you've known me, you've watched me over and over and vice versa.
Yeah, that can apply to me right now, you know? Like, just, my nerves have calmed down a little bit, but even before we started, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, right.
You know, this is big when it's
vulnerable. It's nerve-wracking to get on these microphones. And because, you know, people are watching you right now and judging you right now, listening to you right now, or are they? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did they quit listening 10 minutes ago, right? That's the shit you're probably like. Is anyone even listening to this? We didn't air this, did we, Mike? I'm just kidding.
Guess we'll find out.
What's the second lesson you learned this year?
Really, it's kind of like what I said earlier. It's like lessons that I've had to elaborate on and like bring back. And remind myself that I haven't graduated. I haven't gotten to some type of destination where I'm not going to need that lesson anymore. Like, surrender is a big part of it.
And what does surrender look like? Because if you recall, at some point this year, you know, I was battling something. And you were looking at me because it's always easy to see from the outside, right? Yeah. And you're looking at me smiling and you're like, Matt, just surrender. And I was like, what the fuck you mean I am surrender? I'm open. What do you mean? You're like, no, surrender. I'm like, fuck, right?
So it was told to me that everything I've had to surrender is covered in claw marks because I won't let go. Like, surrender, period. Like, it's hard. I have to surrender it, which means I don't want to. I already don't want to. I want it my way. I want it. I want.
Yeah.
Like, it's selfishness and self-centeredness. or like lack of understanding, maybe different perspectives, like warped perceptions of things, which is why I can't trust me to be my only source of knowledge.
Well, like Kip always says, he never goes looking around in his head without a friend and a flashlight.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. How I get so lucky to attract such A players like a man like yourself, a gentleman like yourself. But you're not the only one, right? I've been pretty blessed to attract like the A team.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
How do you think that happened?
I was setting the intention. Like
Yeah.
I assume that it started with a vision.
Yeah.
It's been executing that vision, and the vision has grown.
That sounds cool, but it just seems like a big accident. Beautiful, happy
Could be.
accident. I'm just playing. No, you're right. It's both.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's one of the things that like lit that fire as well for my apprenticeship. Like, how could I not be inspired when surrounded by a bunch of fucking badasses? And then later coming to find out that that's not normal.
Right.
Which makes me appreciate it even more.
Mm-hmm. So what's an apprenticeship like at Aisle 9? How do you even know when you're like promoted? How do you know? Do you even know? Or, I mean, what's it like? You know, because most people in their apprenticeship, especially fans, friends, family, sweet dude. So when you're going to be tattooing, right? How's it go at Aisle 9? Do you ever know when you're going to be tattooing?
No.
No. Really? It's just a fucking mystery and a surprise?
Yeah. I think.
Yeah. Well, what's that like? Is that torture? Or is that...
At times it has been.
Yeah.
But like finding peace with that, like that's something that I had to surrender as well. And
But the trap
yeah.
that some people can fall into, it sets a trap. I'm not setting a trap, but depending on your attitude and your framework of thinking, right? Because you said it's all about your attitude.
Yeah.
A trap could be set in one's mind, any apprentice, if they don't know when they're going to get to tattoo, for example, or not know when they're going to get to fill in the blanks.
Yeah.
They could fall into the trap of the waiting game and putting themselves in a waiting room. Like, well, fuck, I'm just going to wait and hope that resentments don't build and discouragement doesn't. And I start looking at everything through a lens of lack. And I'm comparing whatever, right? It can become a trap versus no matter what, you don't know the time, the hour, or the place, but you motherfucking better be getting ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. That way, when you're called on and it's your time, you're ready. You don't have to worry about getting ready because you done been ready, right? There's two different attitudes that can be taken. I mean, I don't know what the fuck. I've done all my duties. I've been doing here. I've been doing for months. I fucking do more and take out more trash and mop more than the other guys. And them fuckers are slacking. Everybody, no one sees me. They start taking me for granted. I wonder if he done forgot about me. What the fuck? Wonder how much longer, right? That can creep in. I mean, I don't even know what kind of drawing should I work on. What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? That can creep in, right?
Yeah.
And that's the battle of an apprentice, but that's the battle of a human. Am I going to see it through lack and complaint and what about me? Or am I going to see the land of opportunity and so much gratitude, and I'm surrounded by badasses and influence and mastery, and I can like a la carte and pick and go eat from this fruit and watch him and watch her and ask him and ask her. And even though I maybe don't know exactly what to do, I'm surrounded by all kinds of wonderful things to do, like untapped meadows. The same shop exists. What's different? The mindset of the person that's there, right? And I think you've like gotten to experience that journey yourself, right? Because we all do.
Exactly, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm growing in my art and my attitude, the way I show up.
Especially, not only the way you show up, but especially, I mean, like you who keeps integrity to the things, even when no one's watching.
Yeah.
Right? Or even when you think no one's watching. Right? That's character, folks. What are you going to do, and who do you do, and how do you show up when no one's watching, or when you think no one's watching? Either way, right? But even men who do that long enough, if it's not acknowledged or promoted within your arbitrary timeline, even that stance could become discouraging. Is it worth it? Or is it all in vain? I've been doing this with no recognition, no acknowledgement. Does anyone even care? Does anyone even fucking know that I even mopped? Because no one's here to see, right? That can creep in too. Like, does it even matter? That could lead people to start cutting corners and half-assing it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's where I feel like so much of it is an internal. If we use the word karma, right? Same conversations could be had on the shops that have the honor system, on people just turning in, paying their own cut, that they're honest, all that, right? But from a place of karma, you know what I'm saying? It's like, are you playing to win or just playing to not lose? What are you really doing it for? And the difference is, you know, in thyself, you know yourself. You know what I'm saying? But that's the battle we all face. And it's not like choose your path. And, you know, I think we can go weave in and out of both of them. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely not perfect.
Yeah.
It's not unseen, and it's not about others. Like, it's not about you acknowledging me. It's about the fact that I did it, and not just in my apprenticeship, like that I did the right thing.
And both matter, and both have their place. But the important part is you knowing that you're being true to who you committed to being, and then to be acknowledged for that, versus having the attitude, well, I'm doing it, or I'm doing it just for the acknowledgement. If I'm not getting the acknowledgement, then I'm not going to do it. And if you want me to do it, you should acknowledge me, and then I'll do it. Yeah. That's what robs people, right? Mm-hmm. It's the mentality. Some people will be like, man, I don't get paid enough to do this extra mile shit. And that's why they'll never get paid more. Versus the people that are like, whether they don't even have the attitude, I'm not getting paid enough. They go the extra mile and build more valuable, they get paid more. And like, man, I see, I can't lose you. You're not replying, right? But it's always the person that puts it in first, you know? Anyways. And to me, you've embodied that. Like you said, no one's perfect, but man, no one in our studio has ever wondered, you know what I'm saying? Like, if they can count on you, like of it, right?
Yeah.
Which is why I think you're the perfect person to talk about these things, because you're real enough to be, and have weaved in and out of both of them, but have never been stuck. You know what I'm saying? You may ran in the ditch once, but you got out. You know?
Yeah. And like, I've seen it, you know, with everybody, you know, everybody just, you know, weaved in and out of that, like keeping integrity, falling off, getting back on.
From your seat. Because whether you realize it or not, because you're used to you.
Yeah.
You know, you get to hang out with you every day. But you have a rare seat, and whether you realize it or not, is because you're not. You get to see the front lines and behind the scenes. Yes, you're an apprentice, and you're an apprentice at Aisle 9 with Matt and Hip and an all-star team, you know, of beautiful souls and brothers and sisters who love you, who you have served with your whole heart and continue to. But you also get to see what's happening in the behind the scenes of my life and Hip's life and Joshua Carlson's life, and being behind the scenes of the Tattoo Guardians podcast, and being almost behind the scenes of the tattoo industry while trying to get your feet wet to become a tattooer yourself. But you've had a unique seat at the show this whole time.
Yes. I feel lucky is the best word for it, because...
Well, from an observer mode, though, right?
Okay.
Versus you acknowledging, like, the rad seat you're in, right?
Yeah.
What have you observed, or even in our industry, in the industry, some interesting things you've noticed? Or what would you, if you could say to tattooers, what if you feel like you have an uncanny angle at being able to see that others don't? Not that you'd even have the contrast or measuring stick to know, but just from your seat where you're sitting, anything you'd like to say to tattooers, whether it's words of encouragement, whether it's I'm coming for you, whether it's, what would you say to other artists? Because I feel like you get to see even artists from both sides, my students, right? You get to see them out in the world and how they show up at shows and taking awards and stuff like that on the front and their portfolio and their Instagrams and the bangers they drop in, blah, blah, blah. But then you get to see behind the scenes of their hearts and their struggle and their pain and their healing and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's what I'm really fortunate to see. Because it's kind of like I said for myself, the taking responsibility for my growth is like I've seen people take responsibility, and like I've seen people take what you teach and really implement it into their life, into their business, the way they operate. And I've seen them grow as people and as artists.
Yeah.
Which is like I've seen, just for instance, Tyler, who's like fucking great dude.
Shout out to Tyler Bowling.
Shout out to Tyler.
Yeah.
But like even from when he started at Aisle 9, even before that, he took Tattoo Business Mastery, implemented these things, started at Aisle 9, grew in his business and in his
not
artwork.
Only when he started Aisle 9, because he'd been a 3 or 4 year tattooer, I made him pay an apprenticeship fee and start over as an apprentice.
Which is already, in that vein of like...
Come on.
The willingness.
I was testing his coachability.
Yeah.
You know how many dudes would be like, what? Nah, bro, I've been like, I just graduated your program. What the fuck? I understand all that, but if you want to work here, we're going to start over, right? Yeah. I was checking his willingness, and I made him pay, and he did. So anyways, go ahead, Tyler Bowling.
Yeah, that even just speaks to like what I'm talking about, taking responsibility, like doing whatever it takes, the willingness, the open-mindedness to know that like, okay, maybe I don't have it all figured out. And even if nobody else has it all figured out, am I willing to just listen try it?
My God, Mike.
And do I also have the willingness to, after I try it, be like, maybe it doesn't work, and be like, oh, well, I tried it. Didn't work. Like, did I really try it?
Versus trying it again, or like not being so quick to give up. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, definitely seeing that. And even just like, that's the attitude of like wanting to grow so bad that it fucking keeps you up at night.
Love it. You keep saying a key word. One of my favorites of the year, willingness.
Yeah.
Willingness. If I was to extract 2 words, just 2 words that really been coming up for me this year, especially lately. Number 1 is willingness. Number 2 is connection.
Yeah.
And
just seeing the evidence of that, like also in Joshua Carlton. I don't know who he is at the beginning of the podcast. Like, I know that he's a dope tattooer, but I don't know who he is.
Yes.
And like after getting to know his heart, like it makes fucking total sense.
What does?
How badass he is. Like,
he's,
he's a great fucking dude.
Yeah, right.
Period. So,
right.
like, it makes sense that he's gone this far and had all that success.
Gotcha.
Like not only in, his tattooing,
Yeah.
but just to know that he's built all these relationships throughout the entire tattoo industry.
Yeah.
Like it speaks to who he is as a person.
Yeah.
Like anybody.
Come on.
Like
Mm-hmm.
their relationships. It speaks to my relationships, speak to who I am as a person. It's like that connection, that unity. Because which is something I've struggled with my whole life. And it's something that I'm still learning and like growing in. Because I remember you saying, nobody's meant to be an island.
Yeah.
We can't do it alone. We can try to, and maybe we can even like get somewhere doing that. But
I'm not saying you can't. I just not saying you're meant to.
I know.
Yeah.
And the more important part of that to me is like, maybe I could do it alone.
Got you.
But I know the feeling I'm going to have on the inside.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's nothing worse than that feeling of being alone. And then like because when I feel alone, but I'm still driven, I feel like I'm driven by the wrong thing. I feel like I'm driven by a whole bunch of resentment. Like these motherfuckers are going to see now type of thing, which is like, it could get you somewhere. I'm sure it's gotten a lot of people, really high up, but it doesn't sound fun.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So you've been enjoying the journey?
I have.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I think I mentioned last week I had to check my own ass to realizing that the destination's and the journey and remembering that versus so caught up in getting there. In your case, when will I be tattooed, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
Because after that, it'll be, when will I be able to pull off what I want to pull? When will I be good enough? When will I have enough money? When will I be able to, right? We all do that. And it's okay as long as that's not the only thing on our radar. I love how Ashley Mondor, who's been on the show before, says to have 1 foot in desire and 1 foot in gratitude.
Yeah.
Right? That's beautiful. To be reminded, it doesn't have to be either or. You can have goals and dreams and even the questions. When am I? At the same time, I'm so happy where my feet are. Having fun and getting ready, And that's the funny thing is, because then it becomes real. Because so many people will say they want certain things. I'll use myself as an example. I said I would love the honor. I want to speak on a global world stage. Well, now that it's here, I'm fucking scared. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so many people be like, yeah, I want to do that. And then when it's ready, it's like, but are you ready? Could you have prepared better? Could you have been acting like this day was actually for real going to show up? You mean to tell me you've done everything in your power to fully prepare for this moment? You know what I'm saying?
The longer time has gone on, that's something that has come to mind. Like, say I got to tattoo tomorrow.
Yeah.
Am I ready?
And on the flip side, there's never a perfect time, perfect day, whatever. But the trap of just throwing yourself in the waiting room of life as if there's nothing you could actually be doing or partaking of or enjoying or basking in right now beyond just being in a waiting room, thinking that that moment is waiting for you in the future versus finding your moment right now while the future's coming. Is the game and dance for us all. And I've been checking myself a lot, even if I'm standing in line at Kroger's, Yeah. Well, we've all been through a lot in recent years, haven't we?
Yeah.
And we've gotten, since we know each other well, gotten to watch each other go through some real storms. Like you said earlier, you've got a front row seat of watching me almost being forced to learn this thing called surrender. And you're right, because when it hit, I thought, well, wow, I've done this before. I've surrendered so many times before. I thought I had did that, And boom, here comes a new level iteration of surrender, right? Like you were saying earlier, but there's been so many gifts in it and such growth. You sitting here today are not the same person in a lot of ways that you were 3 years ago. In a lot of ways, we are the same people, but are wiser, if anything.
Yeah.
And stronger.
Definitely.
I will say, you've heard me say it 100 times before, my all-time favorite quote of 2022. Unless you said it 2 years ago. Do you remember it? Do you know what my all-time favorite quote of the year is?
I think I got a feeling.
Hey, I drop quotes all the time. All our listeners know that, and scripture. And when I can, I credit the person. And oftentimes, if I don't, I'll just admit it and say, I heard this from so-and-so, whatever. But I don't know that I've ever dropped a quote that the man who made the quote is sitting at the table. To give credit where credit's due, my favorite quote of the year is from Mike Srnoyachki. What is it? Or there's two different versions in there. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can credit the quote to me, but I know that I didn't hear it anywhere else before I said it.
You're so humble. It came right out of your soul, brother.
It really did. But yeah, the quote is, we were just talking, normal conversation, and there's a whole story leading up to it, but I said, all I know is love is the answer, and I don't even know what the question was.
Come on. All I know is love is the answer. And I don't even know what the fucking question was, right?
Yep.
Oh, so good. Yep. Another iteration I had was, all I know is love is the answer, and I don't even remember what the question was.
Yeah.
Either way. So beautiful. What advice would you have to give tattoo artists out there or other apprentices? If you don't feel like you have the right to give a tattoo artist advice since you're not one yet, which isn't true because of your heart and everything, you've seen from the locker rooms, all that. But what advice would you have to give apprentices out there that may be weaving in and out from gratitude to discouragement, from time to purpose?
I guess fight the discouragement that comes when you feel like you're not seen.
Right. And that's why earlier I was trying to touch on that karma. And I just use that word as a safe word, universal word for everybody.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's realms and things going on in the unseen that's watching, that you might get all credit in all the universe, whether or not your mentor noticed tonight. Maybe there's something else going on. Maybe your mentor isn't the only thing that's holding your life in the balance. Maybe there's something greater at play here. God, source, the whole universe that does see you every time, all the time, when no one else does. Maybe that's plausible.
Nah.
Yeah. That was a good thought, though. So, I'd like to take the last few minutes of this episode for me and all of us to hear your real thoughts about Hip and Josh, since they're not here.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yeah. What's it like working with us? We'll work with those two guys. What's it like working with Hip? You've worked with him the longest, and then me. I don't know. You've probably worked more with me. He's probably spent more man hours with me than Hip. I don't know.
I don't know, because I it's about the same, because I spent a lot of time
with him too
initially, just over his shoulder with a camera,
right,
already learning how he's tattooing, or at least
Yeah.
looking at it for long periods of time,
Yeah.
and just being able to watch that,
Mm-hmm.
talking to him, and like Hip was a mentor to me before
Mm-hmm.
I even started, just through recovery.
Gotcha.
And yeah, Hip's probably had one of the biggest impacts on me.
Yeah.
As a man.
Yeah.
Out of everybody in my life. So
Man.
I'm super grateful to him.
Yeah.
And I rarely get the occasion to tell him, but I have.
Yeah. You hardly see the guy.
It usually bursts
Just
out
every
in
week.
tears
Okay.
of gratitude.
Really? When you do get around to telling him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he knows.
Who's bursting out into tears? You or him?
Him. He's a, you know. He's a crybaby. No, it's me.
Is it you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
I've only seen Hip cry. Well, I haven't ever seen him cry. I've heard him cry once.
Do you think
on
he
the
was
phone.
faking it?
Nope.
No.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, and he ain't gonna listen to this, so he still won't know.
Just be like, oh, The Apprentice is on it. I'll catch the next one.
Yep. What? That's beautiful, man. I'd say the same about Hip in my life. You know, we're all blessed to have Hip in our lives, aren't we, everyone? All you listeners. What's it like working with Josh?
It's amazing because I've had this thought is that I don't have the relationship that you guys have with him, but I've also spent probably more time than you have with him.
Like on tech shit or what?
Oh, yeah, like literally replaying moments that happened in time. You know,
Oh, by editing every episode? Is that what you mean? Rewatching?
Oh, yeah, I've at least spent a good month with him. But yeah, I feel honored just to be at this table with all you guys and to have the ability to learn from Josh.
Yeah.
Which is like rare. And I mean, not these days since he's like, you know, he's always been a teacher.
Yeah.
But just to like get little tastes of it.
Yeah.
Just from being around is like amazing.
Mm-hmm. He's golden.
Yeah.
He was my favorite when I started tattooing. And then I met him when I was an apprentice, almost 18 years ago. He was so humble and so nice. I immediately was even a bigger fan.
Yeah.
Like saw someone else like, he rolls like I do. Like, I don't have to like be too cool or make you feel small. Ever.
Yeah.
Hello. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's definitely shown that to me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's authentic. He's not in the business of bringing anybody down. You know? And I love that. Again, who do you associate and who do you surround yourself with? It matters. You say?
Absolutely. That's a hard lesson I had to learn too.
Yeah.
Yep.
My God. Let's see the way you just said that as if it ain't coming back around. That staircase is going to bitch slap you. You said that's a hard lesson I had to learn, and you're right. Yeah. I'm in the season learning it again right now, right? Yeah.
Well, I had to learn it the first time, and you know.
You're right.
Yep.
My God. So what now? Can you tell everybody when you're going to be tattooing? You taking appointments yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Where can we? And guys, again, he's the producer of this show, and so he has been. Even though he's sitting at this table and Hip's chair in front of the microphone, sharing his heart with us tonight, he is literally sitting at a table right here off camera every week at the command center. So it's fun, an honor to pull you out in front. We've talked about you enough for our viewers. Those of you watching us on YouTube can finally see Mike put a face to the name Mike. The rest of you got to hear a little bit more of his heart. Oh, he's golden. Thank you for all that you do, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. Where can we follow you? We want to follow your story. Like, how soon are you to tattooing? Is he any good? Wonder what his art's like. Does this dude suck and he just got real lucky? How can we follow you? How can we look you up and judge you?
You can follow me on Instagram if you want to judge me. It's Mike Srnoyachki.
That's it. Thanks for tuning in.
Spelled just like it sounds.
Spelled just like it sounds. That's it.
I'm sure I will tag myself in the...
He's going to do every reel and every short. It's just you tagging your shit.
Yep. So, I'll tag myself. It's like somewhere right here.
No, but for real, I think we've got around 5,000 subscribers. So the two people that are still listening and even give a fuck, they can just hit the link that you're going to post. You're going to tag yourself into this, right?
Yep.
How many Mike fans did we just create above and beyond if you were already a fan of this brother? His heart is golden. To follow him and his story, this man has decided to be a tattoo artist, and me and Hip and everyone else at Aisle 9 are going to make sure that happens, starting sooner than later. Sooner than even Mike knows. Who knows, right? But follow our brother. Thanks for sharing your heart. Your Instagram is it still Behold or no?
Nope, it's just my name.
Okay, great.
Mike Srnoyachki.
Yep. Sir Noyachki.
Sir Noyachki.
Yes. And what is that again?
Like
that's Mexican, right?
Yeah, Mexican.
No, what is it?
It's Serbian.
Serbian.
Yep.
How many Serbians do you know? How many Serbians do you know?
None.
Yeah. From what state is Serbia from?
Kansas.
Yeah, tight. And where is Serbia? Is there a place called Serbia?
Yeah. It's,
okay.
I know nothing about it.
This is fun. I've always wanted to have you on the show. We actually recorded an episode like a year or so ago. I never aired it. You and I, huh?
Yeah, I think that's back when the walls weren't even up
There
yet.
wasn't even walls. Yep. Anything else you want to say to the tattooers before we go this week? Or to our listeners? Because you're invested in our listeners and the growth we're having. I mean, what do you want to tell to anybody or our new subscribers? Anything?
Shit. Thank you for listening. Whether you're a tattooer or whether you just found us and you like the vibe that Matt, Hip, and Josh are putting off.
Yep.
We've had so many new people come in, so many new subscribers. Like, it's blowing up and it's amazing. Like, it's so cool just to see it grow.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fruits of everything. Because I've put so much time into the back end of it. So it's like,
still do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so awesome just to see that it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth it.
Somebody out there's listening.
Yep.
Under the sound of your voice and my voice right now, Mike. How many of you out there received Mike's thank you? Thank you for saying thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
My God. And a recap of some of your lessons and advice. One is to let go of the need of being seen. Right?
Yep.
Man. It reminds me of the quote behind you that we've shared before. Do you care if I share it again?
Yeah, go for it.
People are illogical and unreasonable and self-centered. We know this. This is our experience. Have you experienced that, Mike, ever?
Yes.
Like, have you experienced people that are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered towards you?
Possibly. I don't know. I'm not them. I'm talking about me.
Come on. Oh,
That's why I can say it with such certainty.
I'm sorry. I forgot I was talking to a man that takes responsibility for himself. Oh, so you're saying you can at least relate to that. You yourself have been at times illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered.
Oh, yeah. So when you can finish the quote, but when others are. That's how I get to an understanding and to not fall into resentment.
Yeah.
To know that I've experienced the same thing.
People are illogical, unreasonable, and self-centered folks. What are we going to do? What are we going to do, Mike? What's the answer?
We love them anyway.
We love them anyway. If you do good to people, people might still accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Like, why are you being so nice? If you just go out and do good deeds, you won't bless somebody. You might be accused of having ulterior motives. What you going to do?
Do good anyway.
Do good anyways. If you're successful, you will win false friends and true enemies. If you decide to go ahead and be successful, you'll win some false friends and some true enemies, some haters. What are we going to do?
Succeed anyway.
Succeed anyways? Damn. But the good you do today, Mike, very well may be forgotten tomorrow. What are we going to do?
We do good anyway.
Even if it's going to be forgotten, even if you might not be seen, even though you may not get the credit in this third dimensional physical realm or ever in any realm at all, to do something good, to do the right thing, like you said in the beginning of this episode, just doing the right thing one day at a time. It may not be seen, but what are you going to do?
Do good anyway.
Do good anyways. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. Honesty and frankness make you vulnerable. But it says to be honest and frank what? Anyways, people favor the underdogs, but usually only follow the top dogs. What are we going to do, Mike?
We fight for the underdog anyway.
Man, would you say, I would have categorized you as an underdog, one of the underdogs.
Yeah.
An addict on the streets. Most people might have been like, or whatever. Like, man, whether it was the cop, the judge, the counselor, anyone else, they may have gave up on you or said, man, he ain't shit. He in the system. I wonder who would have predicted that you'd be the Tattoo Guardians podcast producer one day. Mm-hmm. Just 3 years later, 4 years later. Right now on this show. Right? The underdog. And even though if people were pulling for you, because it says people will favor the underdog, man, we hope he makes it out. Hope he makes it out alive. But they usually only follow the ones that already got their shit together. Mm. Right? Fight for the underdogs anyway. That's what we do. That's who you are. That's what you do. You stand for other underdogs. All right? I see you all the time. What you spend years building may be destroyed overnight. Mm. What should we do, Mike?
Guess we just build anyway.
You think so?
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, but that also brought up for me, just talking about that quote is something I've been thinking about recently, is falling into maybe not the best attitude or resentment or whatever. Mm-hmm. The number one thing that brings me out of it is gratitude, appreciation. And I've been thinking about recently, like, just how quick it could be over.
Man.
To build anyway. And that doesn't even mean, a final thing.
Yeah, right.
It's been making me think back on memories of when it was all gone. Things disappeared from my life. Mm-hmm. And I was still alive, which made it that much worse. Mm. But, and that sounds, not the best, not too positive, but also it gives me more appreciation for what I do have. Mm. Like, be willing to give to somebody else just because. Yeah.
Do it anyways.
Yeah.
There's that word again, willingness. You said to be willing to.
Yeah.
Succeed anyway. Do good anyway. be honest and frank. Root for the underdog.
Yeah.
Build anyways. No matter what.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, if you appreciate what we're doing with the podcast, there's also ways to do that. Just subscribing, leaving a comment, liking the video. Go leave us a review on Spotify and Apple.
And that stuff really matters because I'm guessing if there's a lot of people like me or definitely my brother Todd that maybe love this show, listen and watch, but don't really do any of that tech shit. But that if someone really wants to like say thank you and bless us, you're saying that's like a bigger way than what I may realize or a lot of listeners realize. Just because you're like, just hit like and subscribe, like, because that really is going to do something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well,
helps us get out to other people just like you.
Is that what it does? Helps more people see this and to maybe hear this message?
Yep.
I'm down with that.
Yeah.
So you're saying if everyone likes and subscribes, it's going to push this out to more folks.
Yep.
I'm with that.
Are you a giver?
Are you a giver? Yeah. Oh, man. It's good kicking with you on the microphone. You did great. This was your first time, really.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. You did good. I mean, I know the first time we didn't have walls, but this was like the first. This is for real.
Yep.
Love you, brother.
Love you too.
Thank you. Thanks to all you, my God, brothers and sisters, your comments, all you new subscribers, you OGs, everybody that's followed us along the way, the journey. My God, something about this journey. We going from broken hearts to open hearts along the way. I don't know why, but it's interesting and it's fun. Is this a podcast about tattoos or what? What's even going on here? My God, who knows? But it's evolving and being revealed and unveiled through us, through you, with us all together. Thank you. And we'll see you next week.
Man, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Matt, I don't know about you, but I like coffee.
You know I do every day, all day.
Man, and I could go for one right now. So our listeners, did you know that you can buy us a coffee?
For real?
Yeah. All
Why would they do that?
Well, if you like what we do and you support our show and you appreciate our content, you can just go and click that little button that our producer Mike puts in every show and buy us a coffee just to show your contribution that you appreciate what we do for you to help us out.
People can really buy us a coffee?
Totally.
I would be honored if you bought me a coffee.
And not only that, but we got a little spot. It's special for the VIP listeners. It's called Close Friends on Instagram. And on there, you can see some behind the scenes content. And when the cameras ain't running, seeing all the shit we'd be talking about each other.
Is that true, Mike? Damn, you guys, this is the first I've heard about either of these. So they can buy you or me a coffee.
Or Mr. Carlton.
Or Mr. Carlton. And like get a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
By doing what again?
Fucking smashing that button.
Okay. What button you talking about? I want to smash the button.
It's the button on the fucking thing.
Okay. Do it. Just do it.
Absolutely demolish the button. But thanks for your time again, and we appreciate all our listeners.
Always.